Governor Bullock urges patience as firefighters tackle the Lolo Peak fire.
One of Missoula's busiest bridges is back in business.
And the president arrives in Arizona to cheers and jeers ahead of his first campaign rally since the election.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Bragg.
And I'm Jill Valley. Governor Steve Bullock is calling on people to be patient and supportive of firefighters and other authorities as Montana deals with one of the worst fire seasons we've seen in years.
And Governor Bullock says that's important, especially since blazes like the Lolo Creek fire could still be burning for weeks to come. Calmer conditions on the 33,000-acre Lolo Peak fire allowing firefighters to do some important catch-up work after a week when the fire tripled in size, forcing hundreds from their homes. During a briefing in Florence, the incident command team told Governor Bullock the fire continues to be quite active on its southeastern corner closest to Florence and further up Lolo Creek. Retardant drops and firing operations continue as crews mop up areas burned late last week. Bullock says it's astonishing to look at Lolo Peak fire and the tens of thousands of acres burning across western Montana just 2 months after a wet winter and spring had forecasters looking for a moderate fire season.
It actually looked pretty good with our moisture levels, but it's been well over a century since it's been this dry in Missoula County. So it's much more significant than any of us anticipated. None of us can fully predict the climate other than we know that it's warm and getting warmer.
Local authorities told the governor evacuees have been largely cooperative and definitely supportive, providing enough community help that fewer than a dozen people have used shelters. Bullock says that continued cohesiveness is critical.
We need to be patient, and we need to work with law enforcement, with the National Guard that's now in many of these communities, and the Incident Command team, because what they're doing is everything they can to both try to protect the structures and protect life.
The governor also appealed to people in the fire areas, whether it's Lolo Peak or other fires, to make sure they're getting their information from good, reliable, authoritative sources and not depending on the kind of rumors that can circulate on social media. On Lolo Peak, those rumors have circulated about homes that weren't burned, misinformation about firefighting plans, and even unfounded claims of looting on evacuated properties.
We've seen this on fires all across the state. Try to get good information about what's happening, because I know that as people are stressed and concerned, at times they're seeing things on social media and others that may not be quite the truth.
Also tonight, all homes in Missoula County along U.S. Highway 93 that were still under evacuation orders are now downgraded to evacuation warnings. But Missoula County 911 reminding everyone to remain ready to evacuate should conditions worsen.
Seeley Lake continues to suffer under a thick blanket of smoke from the nearby Rice Ridge fire that's been burning for weeks now. Hazardous air quality has been a persistent issue. School is set to start in just a few days. So Seeley Lake School Superintendent Chris Stout says when those kids arrive, they will take necessary precautions.
We will definitely limit our outdoor time if it stays like this. We'll have PE inside.
And some good news, the Missoula County Health Department has offered to split the cost of indoor HEPA filters for each classroom in Seeley.
We're also working with the County Health Department on a project to get 2 HEPA filters for each classroom. And the county actually has some funding to kind of offset those costs, so we'll be splitting that down the middle. At the end of that, we'll actually own some of the filters and we'll keep in case we have something like this again next year.
Those HEPA filters cost $5,500. Now for a look ahead at our fire weather and if the smoke may clear out, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost now with a look. Aaron.
You know, we might have a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. All these lights, though, that we've seen recently have been very short-lived. We've got another system headed our way with an associated cold front that could help out our air quality during that Wednesday evening and Thursday time frame. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a temporary fix. We've got more of this back in the extended forecast. Hamilton today, our First Security Bank ICAM, where we are continuing to see an air quality alert that's out for Ravalli, Missoula, and Granite counties until further notice. And you know why, due to our recent area wildfires. Again, we could see a break though as a cold front passes through the region, but it could come at a price. Those details on the way.
New at 10 tonight, President Trump is in Phoenix holding his first major campaign event in the city.
It comes a day after he announced his decision to deepen U.S. involvement in Afghanistan and as racial tensions run high across the nation.
Chris Martinez has more.
President Trump returned to Phoenix for the first time since taking office, fresh off a tour of a Border Patrol center near the Mexican border.
It is finally time to rebuild our country, to take care of our people, and to fight for the jobs our great American workers deserve.
As Trump supporters filed into the arena,
I'm happy with the jobs that he's producing.
protesters marched through the streets to denounce the president's previous views on Charlottesville.
What happened in Charlottesville strikes at the core of America. And tonight, this entire arena stands united in forceful condemnation of the thugs who perpetrate hatred and violence.
Others refuse to forget the divisive rhetoric Mr. Trump used against illegal immigrants on the campaign trail.
You can't just sit there and not do something. The basic rights are under attack.
The mayor of Phoenix had asked President Trump to delay his visit here as a way to keep the peace. Many demonstrators remain angry the president is considering pardoning Joe Arpaio, who was recently convicted of carrying out illegal traffic patrols targeting immigrants.
I think it all culminated and made the issue of division in this country worse than it is.
The state's two Republican senators, John McCain and Jeff Flake, have publicly clashed with the president in recent days. Both declined to join Mr. Trump in his events in the state today. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Phoenix, Arizona.
Arizona's Republican governor also did not attend the president's rally, although he supported Mr. Trump in his candidacy. After more than half a year of continuous work, all 4 lanes of traffic are once again open on the Madison Street Bridge in Missoula. The bridge rehabilitation project started in November of last year, brought on by the old surface's crumbling sidewalks and pocked pavement. The new surface is expected to last upwards of 70 years, so says the Montana Department of Transportation. MDT built this new bridge with pedestrians and cyclists in mind, getting rid of the old concrete barrier separating north and south lanes to accommodate wider sidewalks and a robust bike lane. MDT says those changes will ultimately make the Madison Street Bridge safer than it's ever been.
We have a tremendous amount of commuter, bicycle and ped traffic and just stationary folks that visit and commute in the downtown area. So that's something that was really important to the city, and it's something we made sure that we added to the scope of that project.
While traffic is open, there is still some work to be done on the Madison Street Bridge. Crews are finishing up steel work underneath it.
In November, Missoulians will elect a mayor, 7 city council members, and a municipal judge, and they'll do it all by mail. Continues the trend seen in Missoula's municipal elections the past 5 cycles. Tradition unanimously upheld during Monday's city council meeting. Ballots will begin arriving in mailboxes citywide in October, unlike absentees, which are only sent to those who specifically request them. This mail-in only election will have ballots sent to every registered voter in the city. Ballots can either be mailed back in or delivered in person to one of several drop-off locations. The move will save some money, and according to the Missoula County Elections Office, it should increase turnout.
When city council elections or citywide elections started going to all mail, beforehand when they were polling place elections, it was about 15% turnout, which is really low. And afterwards, it got a bump almost double to over 30%.
A total of 14 candidates are vying for those 7 council seats. Mayor John Engen faces challenger Lisa Tripke, and Brendan McQuillan looks to unseat municipal judge Kathleen Jink.
So, have you been frustrated by how expensive houses are in Missoula, or maybe you just can't find what you want to buy? The Missoula Organization of Realtors and the City of Missoula wants to hear from you.
MTN's Don Fisher shows us how this new survey may give officials a better picture into what residents want to buy.
As the median home price in Missoula continues to grow, city officials are looking to the public in a search for answers. The Missoula Organization of Realtors says that the main problem is that Missoula's cost of housing has far outpaced incomes in recent years. In 2016, the median sales price of a home reached a record high of $255,000, but that continues to rise, with today's price close to $270,000. In response, local organizations launched the Making Missoula Home, a Path to Attainable Housing initiative. Part of that is a new survey asking residents to give them an idea of what they're looking for.
The point of the consumer survey is to try to get a better sense of what the issues are from a consumer's perspective. We want to make sure that the strategies that we come up with to address affordability lead to the right types of housing being put in the right places and at the right price points.
And there isn't much relief for renters. Sill says about half of renters spend more than 30% of their income on rent and are considered cost burdened. But Sill is hopeful this survey, along with other work on the project, will help close the wage housing gap homebuyers face.
So what we hope to gather from this survey is to find out from people what kind of housing are they in now, Are they satisfied with this housing? Does it meet their needs? If not, why not? What kind of housing would better meet their needs? What can they afford? What are the barriers they perceive to entering housing that better meets their needs?
In Missoula, Don Fisher, MTN News.
That survey can be taken online. It's also available through various offices around the city. For a link and a list of participating businesses, you can visit our website.
Today, the city of Kalispell celebrated the start of plans to lay down new train tracks in the Glacier Rail Park, replacing the old tracks that run through downtown. It's being paid for by a $10 million Tiger grant that the city received after its third attempt. The overall project is expected to bring in more than $38 million in public and private investment to the community over the next few years, along with 80 to 100 new jobs at the rail park alone.
This is truly a transformative moment. This is the moment in history. At 50 years from now, we're going to look back and realize that the pain and sacrifice we made was well worth the effort.
A lot of times we go to these groundbreaking ceremonies and it's made out to be bigger than it actually is. This one's going to be bigger than we think.
By 2019, the old train tracks in downtown will be removed and replaced by 2 miles of pedestrian trails.
Coming up on the 10 o'clock news, Aaron says we could see thunderstorms later this week, but those storms will be nothing like what people are dealing with in parts of South America where the flooding turns dangerous.
And later in the news, some Helena residents say the city leaders did not follow proper procedures when they moved that Confederate fountain. Still ahead on KPAX.